Hi guys, welcome back. So today we are going to discuss the summary from the examiner report for paper AA, that is also known as audit and assurance, paper name F8. This examiner report has recently been published by ACCA from March-June 2026 active. An examiner has highlighted certain mistakes that students should avoid in upcoming attempt, and these are the common mistakes that the student used to do. So March-June 2026 examiner report, especially for this paper A, gives some useful point about the mistake that the student commonly make in exam, and also these are not just kind of mistake that is related to technical knowledge, but in many cases student fail not just because they lack the concept or technical part, but they failed because they don't know how to manage the time. They don't know what the examiner is expecting from you. So in many of case, sorry. So in many of cases, students know the topic, but still they lose marks because they don't answer what the examiner is expecting or the way examiner want you to answer. So before your next paper regarding this double A, make sure you guys should avoid this mistake which I have listed here. Just a second, okay? Make sure you guys should avoid the mistake which I have listed here. I'm going to explain as well. So first mistake highlighted by examiner is not reading the requirement properly. Yes, guys, you heard right. Not reading the requirement properly, because I have mentioned in my previous video as well regarding ACCA verb. So it is very important to know the ACCA verb. ACCA itself has produced like PDF form document. No. I think in there is some link. Just go over the Google and search ACCA verb, and you can find that ACCA has listed all the verb along with the meaning, like what examiner is expecting from you. If you can't find that link, just comment ACCA verb. I will send my video which I have uploaded before. Okay, so before starting before you are starting to write your answer, try to first understand what examiner is asking from you, and how can we identify through ACCA verb. So it is very important to know what ACCA verbs mean, because once you know the ACCA verb and their meaning, you can better know what examiner is expecting from you. So this is what the first point highlighted by examiner. So before starting the answer, first understand what the question is asking. If the requirement say identify and explain, simply identify the point is not enough. You need to explain as well. Okay. Similarly, if question asks for recommendation, do not spend most of your answer explaining the theory. Always keep the exact requirement in mind while writing your answer. So it is very important, guys. So while you are reading the requirement, first read it properly. First thing is that you should understand like which ACCA verb ACCA has mentioned in that particular requirement. Also, if there is one requirement or more than one has been asked and that we need to answer, we need to identify that as well, because if you will answer only one part and forget the rest, you won't get credit for that. So in order to score the full marks, you need to understand the requirement as well as ACCA verb, and always keep the exact requirement that is expected by examiner from you in mind, and then draft your answer. Okay, just don't write unnecessary points and explain all the theory that you know. Okay, so this is the first mistake highlighted by examiner. Now, second point highlighted by examiner is giving too generic answer. So obviously, this is one of the biggest problem, not in for double A, for other paper as well. Like sometimes students are familiar with the theory and the topic that they learn from the textbook, but they are unable to link their theory to that particular scenario. So this is what you're lacking right now. So don't write the general theory. Try to link those concepts, those theory with the scenario given in your exam. So this is what examiner is highlighting in this point. This is one of the biggest problem in double A. Students often know the theory and write what they have learned from the study text, but they do not relate it to the scenario. For example, if question gives a specific problem with inventory, do not simply write the inventory. There is a risk that inventory is overstated. Explain why this risk exists based on the information given in the question. Examiner want you to see that you can apply your knowledge to the situation. Okay, so this will be applicable in other paper as well. So even though you know the theory very well, you know the concept very well, so if you fail to apply that in that particular scenario or the like given in the exam, you want to score the marks. So writing general point is not enough. You need to able to like link the thing to the scenario. Also, one more thing, if you're writing the company has this much of asset, instead of that you can mention the company name. It will sound more specific that we are talking to the scenario given or company given in the question. Okay, so this is also the second mistake highlighted by the examiner. Now next very important, not explaining the audit risks properly. Yes, you read here. Sorry, 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 I'm really sorry. Sorry, guys, I am having little bit a problem in speaking due to bad throat. Okay, that's fine. Now I was talking about like the next point, not explaining the audit risk properly. So when you guys are asked to identify the audit risks, do not just mention a general business problem. You need to explain what could go wrong in financial statement and why. A good risk answer should normally connect the information given in the scenario with the possible misstatement in the financial statement. The scenario is there for a reason, so use it. Obviously, guys, even though in like performance analysis type question, there is everything provided in the scenario, and obviously scenario is there for a reason, so try to use the scenario as much as you can. Especially in the audit risk question, obviously we used to just mention or explain the general point, but general business problem, but that is not acceptable. First you need to pick up the what kind of audit risks you have identified from the situation, and what could happen. You need to explain why and what will how it will impact in our financial statement. We need to explain that. Okay, so you try to use the scenario as much as you can. Now, fourth point, writing a weak audit procedure. One more thing I forget to mention regarding the audit risks. I have uploaded one or two long video in my YouTube channel. You can watch there how I have solved the question, and it is very easy way. You can just watch that video. It is totally free. You don't need to pay any subscription and any charges. It's totally free. Just go and watch and try to grab the technique that I have explained there. Now, fourth is writing weak audit procedure. Students often lose marks because their audit procedure are too general. For example, like we check the invoice, we can say check the invoice, but this does not clearly tell the examiner what the auditor is actually going to do. So better would be better approach will be what the auditor will check and what the evidence will be used and what the auditor is trying to confirm. So when writing the procedure, always ask yourself what exactly will the auditor do. Okay, so basically for the audit procedure, what tips I would give you guys, just have a note from somewhere regarding all the audit procedures. Substantive procedure, to say, and try to first mug up all those things, then try to apply whatever you have learned, and like drafting your answer specific to the scenario, not just writing the general point that you have learned before. Okay, now Fifth point, confusing control deficiency with recommendation. So when answering like especially internal control question, remember the difference between existing control and the problem with that control and the recommendation. First explain what is wrong with the current control, then explain the possible consequences and give a specific recommendation to improve the control. Avoid writing something very general like company should improve its control. Explain exactly what the company should change. Exactly, especially for internal control. Or I have most of the students used to struggle in this area as well. So try to pick up the whatever the current control or like loopholes that's going on and explain what would happen if it will continue in this way. Okay, and you need to like provide recommendation if that is the case, what is the alternative solution to improve that control. And this will all only came through the practice and practice. It is not some kind of rules like once you have done or you have just read the theory and now it's done. No, you need to practice the question, and with the practice you will have an idea, oh, these things will work like this. And in that case, yes, you will like obviously like draft your answer what the examiner is expecting, but this will only come through the practice. Okay, now sixth point, repeating the same point. So writing more word does not automatically mean getting more marks. So this is like some kind of pre-assumption we have, we can say. If you already explain one risk, writing the same risk again and again using different word will not give you another marks. So try to give a separate and relevant point. For example, if the question asks 5 risks, aim to identify 5 different risks rather than spending too much time on the one risk. Exactly. So if you are just writing same point again and again with a different topic, heading and the words, obviously it will not going to give you extra marks. It's just a waste of time, and in fact you can like have a poor time management if you are going to this kind of the mistake. So if question have asked for 10 marks, then try to just pick up the 5 audit risks and explain, but this audit risks should be from the scenario provided rather than like general one. Okay, now next, writing too much theory. So audit is not only about remembering the audit theory. You need to apply that knowledge due to scenario. If question asks you explain a specific audit issue, there is no need to write a long definition that does not help answer the requirement. Keeping asking yourself, is this sentence actually answered the question? So obviously I think this problem is in other paper as well. So if any part of theory has been asked, just don't write whatever like you know regarding that topic or like concept. Just first look at the marks, for how much marks the question has been asked, and try to draft your paragraph accordingly. Otherwise, writing too much will be waste of time, and obviously, in this case, there is high chance of question left unanswered due to like you guys unable to manage the time. So this is very important. Just don't write too much theory. Okay. Now eighth point, they are saying using ISA number unnecessarily. So guys, you don't need to like remember the ISA number and put an ISA number in every answer just to make your answer look professional. If you know the relevant standard and it helps your answer, fine. But do not waste valuable exam time trying to remember paragraph numbers when the question is really testing your understanding and application. Focus on giving a correct and relevant answer. So I think this will applicable in your SBR as well, because obviously in SBR we have a lots of standard there, or in FR as well. So you don't need to mention the standard name or number. That is not the examiner is testing you there. Examiner is testing your like how much you understand those standard and whether you guys are able to apply it to that particular scenario or not. So this is what examiner is really testing you. Similarly for the ISA. So don't try to like put every ISA number just because you know and to look your answer professional. So obviously standard will help you to answer the question, but just don't waste your valuable time in writing unnecessary paragraph regarding the standard. So, but real testing in exam is regarding application and understanding. Okay. Now in 9 point, examiner is like saying writing incomplete point. Bullet point are fine, but your bullet point should be still clear. For example, writing only management fraud is not enough. If the question requires explanation, explain what the issue is, why it matters. Examiners should not have to guess what you mean. So obviously, especially like in bullet point, especially like if the question is asking advantage, disadvantage, or any of the point to list out, writing the bullet point is not enough. You need to explain that point in very well manner so that you will be credited with the full marks. So try to explain what the issue is and why it matters. Just don't write a small bullet point. The intent, examiner is saying not practicing enough question. So reading the text again and again is not enough, guys. You need to equally practice the question as well, because in exam obviously software is different, scenario is different, computer is different. So you need to practice the question on ACCA practice platform. Okay, so whenever like a good approach, what if I have to say the good approach, you can see this like the diagram, I mean this the flow chart. So when you study topic, try to attempt the question from that topic immediately once you finish that topic by yourself. Then compare your answer with the like exam answer mentioned in the kit, and also identify where you lack. Okay, then read the examiner feedback from the examiner report and then try to improve your answer by redrafting. So this is all about the practice. Just not just like looking answer or reading the answer I mean mentioned in the PDF exam kit, or like just practicing in the Excel or Word file is not enough, guys. You need to practice lots of question, because once you will start the practicing, your mind will build up the concept accordingly and will grab the information quickly from the scenario. Okay, so reading the study text again and again is not the same as practicing the exam question. AA requires you to apply your knowledge to different scenarios. So good approach is study the topic, attempt the question yourself, check the answer, identify where you lost marks, read the examiner feedback, and try to improve your answer. This is much more useful than simply reading solution without attempting the question. Try to predict, now next point is try to predict the exact question. So do not prepare only few topics because you think they are sure question. A can test wide range of areas, so make sure you have covered the syllabus properly. Past paper exam reports should help you understand how topic are tested, not help you to guess the exact question that will appear. So obviously this will applicable in other paper as well. So I think most of the student they used to try to guess the topic from the past like exam, like oh for sure this will ask because this has not been asked from the last few times, blah 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 and all. But this will not works in ACCA. This technique will works in BBA and other graduation and master paper. But in ACCA, whole syllabus can be tested by ACCA from anywhere, even though they have not been asked in the past exam, they can be tested this time. So first try to cover the syllabus. Don't lift any part just because they have never and ever asked before. Okay. So, and also if you're practicing the past paper or reading the examiner report, it will guide you what mistake the student have done and how the question has been tested. So it will not guess the exact topic that will come in exam. So don't try to predict the question. Now, most important, the poor time management. So this is very, very, very important, guys, and also applicable in other paper. So time management is very important. Sometimes students not only fail because they lack the concept, they lack the technique, even though they have a concept, clarity and technique, but still they failed because of lack of time management. So another common problem is spending too much time on one requirement, then rushing through the remaining question. You do not need to perfect answer for every single point. You need to make sure you attempt the whole exam and collect as many relevant marks as possible. If you stop, move on and come back later rather than spending too much time on one difficult point. So remember, there has standard time allocated for the according to marks by the ACCA itself. You can see in the Copland book and all. So that's why don't try to spend too much time in just in one question. If the one particular question, if standard time limit has been crossed, just leave that question and move on, because in many in like there are many more questions, right? Some of might be easy, some of might be challenging, right? So if you will spend too much time in one question, there is high chance you will lose the easy marks as well. So whenever the time you standard time limit is up, leave it the question, move on. Okay. So this is the common mistake for the double A. I hope guys this is very useful and you will not repeat in your upcoming attempt.